Tom Girardi, a name once whispered in halls of power, a titan in the courtroom, and the legal mastermind behind some of the most significant settlements in history. He was the lawyer who inspired a Hollywood movie, the guy who took down corporate giants, and the man who seemed untouchable. But beneath the polished surface of this legal icon laid a much darker reality. What if I told you that the man who once fought for the little guy turned out to be one of the biggest con men the legal world has ever seen? What if the champion of justice was actually robbing his own clients blind? It's a story that has everything: power, betrayal, millions of dollars in stolen funds, and even a reality TV twist you won't believe. How does a man go from being the toast of the legal community to being convicted of multiple counts of wire fraud? What happens when the protector becomes the predator? Stick around, because we're about to unravel the twisted tale of Tom Girardi, a man who had it all and lost everything in a spectacular fall from grace that you can't even imagine. And trust me, the deeper you dig, the more shocking it gets. Tom Girardi wasn't just any lawyer. He was the lawyer. The guy who stood up to corporate giants, who made headlines with massive settlements, and who basked in the limelight with a trophy wife from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But beneath the glitz and glamour was a web of lies, deceit, and straight-up theft. Girardi was recently convicted of 4 counts of wire fraud. And when I say wire fraud, I'm not talking about a petty scam. This guy siphoned millions from his own clients, the very people he was supposed to protect. Girardi's operation was more than just a scam. It turned out to be a full-blown Ponzi scheme. He would win big settlements, pocket the money, and then string his clients along with a never-ending list of excuses. We're talking about folks who had been through hell, people who suffered severe injury or lost loved ones, waiting on money they were rightfully owned. Instead of receiving their settlements, they got a masterclass in how to defraud the vulnerable. But Girardi wasn't acting alone. Behind every good con man is a team of enablers. Tom Girardi might be the star of this criminal drama, but even the best villains need a supporting cast. Enter Christopher Kamen and David Lira, 2 key figures in Girardi's operation who played critical roles in making sure the fraud ran smoothly. Let's start with Christopher Kamen, the CFO of Girardi's law firm. If Girardi was the face of the operation, Kamen was the guy working the levers behind the scenes. He's been accused of aiding and abetting Girardi by funneling millions of dollars out of client trust accounts. This wasn't just some rogue employee skimming a little off the top. Kamen was allegedly knee-deep in the scheme, making sure stolen funds were diverted to the right places, whether it was Girardi's personal expenses or even his own pockets. Then there's David Lira, Girardi's son-in-law and a former attorney at the firm. Lira faces charges that suggest he wasn't just a passive observer, but an active participant in the fraud. Now, whether he was directly involved in the day-to-day embezzlement or just turned a blind eye while reaping the benefits, it's clear that Lira had more than just a passing interest in the success of Girardi's criminal activities. These accomplices complicate the narrative. It isn't just about one corrupt lawyer, but about an entire legal operation that went rogue. And let's not forget, these aren't just your normal bad actors. These are people who are supposed to uphold the law, protect their clients, and serve justice. Instead, they chose to betray everything the legal profession stands for. But while these men played critical roles in the scheme, there's one person who, while not directly charged, has been a central figure in the story: Erika Jayne, Girardi's estranged wife. Let's dig into her involvement and try to determine whether she was complicit or just another pawn. Erika Jayne, the pop singer, reality TV star, and wife of Tom Girardi. While she's dodged criminal charges thus far, her role in the saga appears to be anything but innocent. Did she know where the money funding her lavish lifestyle was coming from? Or was she just another victim in Girardi's web of deceit? Erika Jayne has been living the high life, flaunting her wealth on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, with designer clothes, luxury cars, and a pop music career funded by, you guessed it, money stolen from Girardi's clients. Now, she claims that she had no idea her lavish lifestyle was built on the back of victims. But here's the thing: ignorance isn't always bliss. especially when you're married to the man who's committing financial crimes on a massive scale against his own clients. Thus far, legally, Erika hasn't been charged with any of the related crimes, but that hasn't stopped civil lawsuits from coming her way. The concept of unjust enrichment could apply here, which is when someone else benefits at another's expense, even if they didn't directly participate in the wrongdoing. In Erika's case, there's a strong argument that she was living it up on money that never belonged to her in the first place. But let's not sugarcoat this. Whether she knew or didn't know, the optics are terrible. Her entire public persona is now tainted by the stench of her husband's crimes. And while she might be legally off the criminal hook for now, the court of public opinion can be far less forgiving. While Erika Jayne's story can be tantalizing tabloid fodder, it's crucial that we shift our focus back to the real victims, the clients of Girardi's betrayal. Their stories are the true tragedy here, and they deserve justice. Behind every dollar Tom Girardi embezzled is a story of pain, loss, and betrayal. These aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. These are real people who trusted Girardi with their futures, only to be left in financial ruin. Imagine suffering a devastating injury, losing a loved one, or going through some other life-altering event. You seek the best attorney you can find, believing that they'll fight for your rights and secure the compensation you desperately need. This was the expectation of Girardi's clients. Instead, all they got were excuses, delays, and lies, all while Girardi was jet-setting across the world and buying expensive gifts for his wife. Take, for example, the families of the victims of the 2018 Lion Air crash. These people have already suffered unimaginable loss, and Girardi was supposed to be their advocate. Instead, he stole millions from the settlement funds, leaving them to wonder when or if they'd ever see the money they were owed. And they weren't alone. Girardi's victims included people suffering from severe physical injury, families who lost loved ones, and individuals who needed every penny of their settlement just to survive. Girardi's deceit didn't just steal their money, it stole their hope, their security, and their faith in the legal system. It's a gross miscarriage of justice from the very person that they turned to for help and turned out to be the one that betrayed them the most. As if the betrayal of his clients wasn't bad enough, Girardi's legal team tried to pull another fast one by arguing to the trial court that he wasn't competent to stand trial. Let's see how well that strategy worked out for them. Claim you're too old, too sick, and too out of it to stand trial. That was Girardi's Hail Mary pass, arguing that dementia and Alzheimer's made him unfit to face justice. But here's the thing about claiming incompetence. You better have the evidence to back it up. Girardi's defense team tried to paint a picture of a frail old man who had lost touch with reality, claiming he was suffering from dementia and couldn't remember anything. They argued that he was essentially a shell of his former self, unable to participate in his defense. But the court didn't buy it. Medical experts evaluated Girardi and found that while he might have had some kind of cognitive decline, it wasn't nearly severe enough to declare him to be incompetent. In fact, the court ruled that Girardi was exaggerating his symptoms. Shocking, I know, considering the guy had been lying through his teeth for over a decade. So instead of avoiding trial, Girardi was deemed competent and forced to face the music. This defense tactic wasn't just a desperate move. It was an insult to the intelligence of the court and to the victims who had been waiting years for justice. Girardi might have hoped to slither away from accountability, but the evidence was too damning, and the court wasn't about to let them off the hook that easily. As we reflect on the downfall of Tom Girardi, it's crucial to remember the victims whose lives were forever altered by his greed. Justice may have been served, but the scars left behind will take much longer to heal. So what's the legacy of Tom Girardi? Will it be his courtroom victories, his once glamorous lifestyle, or the wealth he accumulated over decades? No. Girardi's legacy will forever be one of betrayal, greed, and catastrophic failure to uphold the very principles he swore to protect. Now here's where you come in as I leave you with some questions to ponder. Was Girardi's downfall the inevitable result of his hubris, or was it just plain stupidity? Do you think Erika Jayne was genuinely clueless, or was she just really good at looking the other way? And finally, how many of you think Girardi's dementia defense was a stroke of legal genius, or was it rather just a pathetic, last-ditch effort to try to avoid prison? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. I can't wait to see what you think about this legal dumpster fire. Until next time, I've been Uncivil Law, and remember, keep it uncivil out there.